In a world filled with sharks, bears, and killer bees, one man is brave enough to stay indoors to bring you the latest in gaming, movie, and pop culture news. That man is Tom Awesome, and this is the Outside is Overrated podcast.
Hello and welcome to Outside is Overrated Game Club. Outside is Overrated is a monthly podcast about nerd pop culture. On this standalone segment, we break down a video game with our Patreon community. If you want to join us, support Outside is Overrated on Patreon at patreon.com/OiO. You can help for as little as $2 a month. Today, we're wrapping up our discussion of Assassin's Creed Origins by Ubisoft. This open-world game served as a soft reboot for the venerable series. Is it a solid launch point for new players? We'll hash out a definitive answer in the next hour or so. I'm your host, Tom Sidlogic, and I'm super excited to break this down with you today. Joining me for the discussion are the Hobby Box, Joe Burns.
Heyo.
The ever-fancy Billy Parrott.
Ahoy hoy.
The pensioner, Darren Mathwig.
Pleasure.
And the Professor, Mike Mathwig.
Gentlemen.
Outside is Overrated is presented by Premier Health. Check out their website at premierhealthmn.com. That's Premier Health, MN, as in Minnesota.com. So let's start by setting some expectations. Assassin's Creed Origins is a massive open-world game set in Egypt. Here's what we're going to cover. We're going to talk about our final thoughts on the combat, the progression systems, and exploration, and we'll discuss our overall impressions of the story, which may or may not be spoilery. If we do pop any spoilers, we'll be sure to give you a clear warning before we do. Assassin's Creed Origins released in March of 2018 and has a Metacritic score of 83. You play as Bayek, a Magi, the ancient Egyptian equivalent of a sheriff. You start on a quest of vengeance against the corrupt leaders who killed your son in search of an artifact. Then you run from point of interest to point of interest, stabbing fools until you run out of time and mainline the stories as those precious days before recording tick down. Let's start with the combat. Last month, we were all mostly positive, and we enjoyed using a wide range of the weapons. I learned that the warrior tree was by far the best fit for my personal playstyle. And then we also talked about tools and their limited utility. Did anyone's opinion on combat change in the back half of the game?
A little bit. A couple of the tools, like once the smoke bomb started knocking people off their feet, that was really useful.
Could you stab them then, or was it just a crowd
totally.
control thing?
That was a great way to handle guys with big shields.
Oh, yeah, that would have been handy. I just dodge until I got behind them.
Dodge triangle. Boom. Smoke bomb.
The other tool that opened up later was the poison dart. Massive disappointment. It was very weak. And also interesting that as you got into the more legendary weapons that I found with fancy effects like being on fire, I killed myself a lot using my fancy fire staff, as you really got to be looking out for those oil flasks because you'll set yourself on fire so often. Their fire physics are surprisingly realistic and dangerous stuff.
All right, Darren, let's start by pushing back on those tools a little bit. Maybe smoke bomb was helpful, maybe it wasn't, but overall, the tools were such a colossal disappointment in this game. Even the fire bombs, which cool concept, but not super effective, and having to upgrade your tool pouch when you have to do the hunting to upgrade all of your other stuff. I hated that. Am I on an island with the tools in this game? The weapons were great, the tools were less than satisfying.
I don't think so. I mean, I had moments where I had most of the tools work. I even had the fire bombs work out nicely in one or two fights.
One or two
Well,
fights?
in
This is
an
a
average
500-hour game, Darren.
Well, that's the problem. In fact, I didn't feel like every tool could be used was particularly useful most of the time. Sleep darts were always useful, even though much of the time I put somebody to sleep just so I could walk up and kill them. But still, I mean, at least they did useful things. The smoke bomb was excellent once you realized you could use it to knock the big guys down. But other tools were, much less useful. So I still found them relatively unsatisfying compared to the other weapons, where even that fourth bow I didn't like before, I realized it actually there are scenarios where I actually really liked it because that was the warrior bow, which when you're on horseback, rocks. On
Is that
foot,
the
I
one
don't care
that
for that
fires really
much.
quickly, one after another?
No, the warrior bow is the one that fires the spread, shotgun
Oh,
style.
Mhm.
I literally never shot one the entire game.
Yeah. I didn't like it much for most purposes, but when you're fighting horseback on horseback and you can't really aim that much, really came into its own in that particular scenario. So all the weapons I ended up liking. The tools were much more limited in application for me personally.
Yeah, I thought the tools stunk. Going back to your thoughts on the fancy legendary weapons with special effects, when I finally got a fire sword at the end of the game, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And like that became my horseback solution. It's like, oh, you're going to try to run by me and shoot a arrow from horseback? I'm going to light your horse on fire, dude, which knocked you off as effectively as I thought it would, but it was incredibly satisfying.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I I just used a short sword and shield, and it's like once I got the Final Fantasy sword, I would just upgrade it every now and again when I was starting to get stuff that was better than it. So that's like what I used like from the moment I got it all the way through to the end of the game. I swapped out shields as I got shields from like doing side quests or whatever that were better. Um, I had a mace, but that was really only if I needed to break a floor and fall down to the lower level. Otherwise, it would just be used when I accidentally flipped to it. I don't know. I ended up doing a lot of the same stuff and not really changing up anything because it was like, I don't know, everything was working relatively well. Um, I still haven't used the trap to this moment. And upgrading the traps pouch was just so annoying because it's just like, can I just turn it off and say I never want to upgrade this so that it's not constantly there telling me, hey, go in here, you can upgrade something? Because, yeah, that as somebody who, hates having those alerts on the screen with a burning fiery passion, that wore me down a little bit.
I'm a little surprised that you didn't like dink around with the other weapons at all. Because like I had my favorites going into our part one discussion, and it was the short sword by a wide margin. But since then, I tried the sickle sword, I tried the basic sword, I tried a spear, I tried an axe, I tried a mace, which I carried around for a long time, also in case I needed to break the floor. So like I tried a lot of stuff. My taste didn't change. At the end of the game, once I found a legendary dual sword combo, I'm like, oh yeah, this is for me. And then you switch to I, I'm like, oh yeah, I is the same as me. We are one.
That's where I got the variety. Was that when I played as her, then I had that little bit of a change.
I don't know. I've rotated weapons every 20 minutes or so just for fun because I like seeing the different kill animations, which were all very different and yet very satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I don't know how you could have gone to the end of the game till you got a flame sword. I had my first flame weapon at level 7, so.
It is possible that I burnt it. I burnt a lot of stuff early on because I didn't understand the
Oh.
blacksmith mechanic. So like I think you get some legendary weapons early. And it's like, oh well, this thing sucks, so I'll probably find something. I expected Borderlands with the loot, and so I'm just like, oh, burn everything. It's all lower number, just burn it, get those resources, good stuff. And then like I didn't get any legendary stuff until the end of the game. So once I got Homeboy's sword in the vault, I'm like, oh, this is really cool. Like, so you're telling me you had fire weapons the entire game?
Oh, yeah. If I wanted to. But
Of course you want to. Everyone wants to. That's a fantasy.
I like the legendaries that give me healing back for damage and stuff, or for criticals, things like that, because they're really helpful in like the elephant fights and stuff. Having 2 or 3 weapons that give you healing that you can rotate through, a couple bows or a couple, swords or axes or whatever, made the elephant fights infinitely easier. So I usually was aiming for those.
Yeah, my healing was generally kill everything and then re-heal in between encounters. Like I didn't rely on a lot of in-combat healing. So it sounds like we all still enjoyed the combat. Like nothing dramatically changed in the back half of the game except for me finding a fire weapon. It's like, oh, cool. But in general, it's positive. Tools were underwhelming. So we'll move on to progression system. Once again, we were generally positive on progression systems through the first half of the game. And as a reminder, you kill enemies and complete quests, Bayek levels up, and you gain more health and you do more damage. You find loot all over that you disassemble to build permanent upgrades to Bayek's kit, and you climb towers, and your eagle Senu can identify targets more efficiently. Did any of our feelings towards the progression systems change?
Yeah, I don't think too much change happened on my end here. I did. Oh, what did I do? I went more. I upgraded more on the assassin level, or what is it? The where you could do like chain assassin and stuff like that, and get
That's
a
the
lot from that.
warrior tree.
The warrior tree, thank you. That was helpful this round. My first playthrough, I went a lot tools, and I went this like backslash. So that was a lot of fun to do. The chain assassins, the more experience gained using your power move and stuff like that. It did help a lot because it got me more used to using a shield in combat, dodging, using the smoke bomb. So I tried to get a lot more mathematical with battles. So going hack and slash, but also being able to dodge and block a whole heck of a lot easier just because there is no in-game healing mechanic unless you have a special weapon and stuff or run away. So I thought the skill tree going that route was pretty fun because it was nice to just go around and just kick some butt.
Since you brought up the chain assassination stuff, I really liked that skill when it worked. That, as well as the when you overpower someone and then can throw their weapon at someone, those two abilities for being kind of like super cool were real janky to try to pull off. Yeah, those two both were like a struggle, and it's like when you were depending on being able to do them and having it not land, or not even like I'm sitting there jamming the triangle button to throw the thing and it just never does, then you're just kind of like, all right, well, I guess I'm dealing with this now.
That's fascinating. I didn't run into any issue with those abilities triggering. The chain assassination, I guess I did a little bit, but like the one, I think it's like called chain throw, where you take their weapon and you throw it at someone else. I never had an issue with that. Like I did have to make sure I was always looking at someone else as I set that up,
Yeah.
but I never ran into other issues.
I guess the biggest problem I had is there's some of those missions where you have like AI like companions or whatever, and they were really great at getting at the last moment in the way of that and it hitting them instead. And it's just like, come on, you guys, just give me a break.
Oh my god, I had the issue. So I went more this direction on the warrior skill tree because during this playthrough, I was doing the whole sleep dart, assassinate or sleep dart, big hit on bigger guys and stuff. And then it went like my first or second Falaki that I ran into, probably 3 or 4 levels ahead of me. And I was like, I'm just going to spam sleep dart and just do big attacks. Nope. One sleep dart, and it was just like the timer just went 3, 2, 1, bing, and he's back up and awake. And I'm just like, oh. So I had to change up my strategy a little bit. So that was fun going that direction this time. So I'm still loving the progress.
Yeah, going off what Burns said, I did notice this time and thinking about it. It feels like that the pacing of it could have been better in the sense that it goes too fast in the first half of the game and too slow in the second half. I think they needed to, maybe tweak that a bit so that it was a little more even all the way through. Where you're early on, you were getting new abilities. It felt like every 5 minutes, and then the later part of the game, obviously, it was much slower.
Yeah, it feels like earlier in the game, there's a lot more like side missions or other missions that just give you an ability point, and then you're leveling up faster. And then, especially early on, most of the stuff costs 1 or 2. And then you get to the end, and it's taking you forever to level up, to hit a level up to get 1 ability point. And then the things you got left cost like 3. And so it's just like, yeah, it really bogged down. It just felt like I was waiting to try to level up like one thing for ages.
Agreed, and it got to the point where I just like stopped checking abilities. Like I just, I would go through multiple play sessions, and I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't leveled up in like a week, so I'd go in and I'd be like, all right, cool, I got 2 abilities, rock and roll, more adrenaline.
Did we change like spots in this game? Because it's like that's usually like when we play Borderlands and stuff. It's like, oh yeah, I should look at my skill tree here after about 10 hours into the game. But with this, it's just like I was constantly going in there. It's like, oh, did I get an ability point for that yet? Oh, nope, still got 2. Need to get 1 more. And it's just like, yeah, I was constantly like going in there, seeing if I had enough to finally unlock the thing I was trying to unlock.
And that's interesting because like it got so slow, just like you guys said, it was so
Yeah.
slow. It's like, well, I probably can't unlock anything anyway, so I'm just gonna keep stabbing fools and keep like riding my camel to the next story beat. I wanted to say that I thought the leveling in this game was just fun. Like you do your quests, you get your big dump of experience, you kill dudes, you get extra experience for using the abilities that you paid for, and like that's all super satisfying how it funnels together. But Burns, there's something you said last time that I have thought about, and I just want to push back on. You said that the hunting of the animals to like upgrade your stuff was enjoyable, and I could not disagree with you more. And like the comparison that we drew last time was to Far Cry, and in Far Cry it's a little bit more structured of a system. Like, granted, it's been a little while since I played Far Cry, but what I recall of the system is like if you want to upgrade this thing, you need to go hunt this specific animal. If you want to upgrade this thing, you need to hunt a different type of specific animal. Assassin's Creed Origins streamlines that quite a bit. There's basic like goat type animals or deer that have soft pelt, and then there's alligators that have like a hard pelt, and I think hippos are give the same thing. And then there's predators that give a third type of pelt. And you do find a lot of animals running through the wild, which is fine. But what I ran into was needing those predator pelts, and like I spent a lot of time running from mission to mission, from area to area in this game, and like I just didn't want to take the time to stop and be like, "Oh, let's see, is there a lion here? Oh, well, it's like 200 meters over there," and it's like it broke my immersion. And eventually, I was just like, you know what? I'm powerful enough. I'm getting through everything I need to get through, and like I don't need to stress about this chest plate. I don't like the tools. I don't need to upgrade the tool pouch. So like, for me, the hunting was just it really took away or it broke the immersion for me. So Burns, I'll let you respond then if anyone else wants to jump in.
That's funny because the ones that I never had enough of were like the super easy kill some goats or gazelles or whatever to get those pelts. Like those were the ones I was always when it came time to upgrade. Those were the ones that I was short on, as well as like the what is it, the carbon crystal or
Oh, yeah.
whatever the little things are. Like those things were like very few and far between. Picking those up, which really locks you down once you get to your legendary level with all the equipment.
Well, I had all those soft hides because I was obsessed with goats, man. I was obsessed with freaking goats. I am this master assassin taking down these big, huge Falakis and like doing this whole epic scale thing. And like everywhere I go, I'm looking for goats and deer, dude. Like it's just like, oh, there goes one. Like, I gotta stop running for this story beat and I gotta go chase the stupid thing over here. And maybe Senu will also kill one. Hooray, 2.
Well, you
Well,
get more than one pelt from a lot of kills, depending on your skill set. And I never hunted. I would just kill them as I was running from point to point.
Yep.
I'd have my bow ready, and if I saw one, I'd shoot it, or let the eagle kill one. And I had way more predator pelts than I knew what to do with because they're everywhere. They're in every camp. There's the different predator locations you have to clear. I once got 8 consecutive leopards to kill in one location. I mean.
Yep.
I walked out of there with so many pelts. I literally had more predator pelts than any other kind of pelt most of the game. So I never
Mike,
really had.
we're going to get to why you had that in just a little bit. I've got a really joke queued up for that one. Burns, go ahead.
Yeah. I was gonna say for a weird reason, I had the same experience as Mike had. So, and one of my favorite pastimes was whenever they had an animal in one of these camps or on one of the boats or whatever. You go up, sure, they swat at you a little bit. You let them out of the cage, you jump on the cage, and you wait until they start attacking the other things. And it's just like, it's like that scene in the newer Godzilla movie. It's let them fight. And then whoever's left, you just have an arrow trained and ready, and then shoot them in the head and finish it off. And just, let them do the work.
And the way I approach this game, I like to set them out of the cage and then race the predator to see who can kill more of the bad guys. I fight with the ferociousness of a lion, my friend.
See, you're like Gimli and Legolas there, where you're just like counting off how many, and you just hear the lion roar, and it's like, I got more than you.
Yeah, and then like Gimli turns around and splits Legolas's head open with the axe, and it's like, I win.
That was one of the extra scenes, right?
Yeah,
right.
I think so.
Or some fanfic I wrote. I don't remember. It's all the same. It turns out that Egypt is a big place. We spent a lot of time talking in part one about how much we love the points of interest. I'll be honest, the magic wore off on that mechanic for me. Mike, you had previously platinumed this game, which includes completing every single location. That is the equivalent of tasting each M&M in a 10,000 gallon drum individually and noting its taste and consistency. Why did you do that?
I fell in love with their version of Egypt. I mean, I love big open world games to begin with. That's like, lunch and dinner to me is just, oh boy, I get to explore this big open world game and find all the locations and, plumb all the depths. So by the time I got to the end of the game and realized that, at that point I had like 95% of the map done. So I thought, what the heck, I'll go for it. I'll try to get all the locations. And I don't recommend it because it was harder than I thought to actually do at that point, but it got done.
You said you had 95% of the map done when you completed this game. I have at least 5 dark regions on my map. I haven't like 5 entire, and I'm like, oh man, there's a lot of achievements. Like, I'm gonna go see if I can find some raining bugs or whatever in the desert. And then like there are some level 45 dudes. I'm like, oh, all right, well, I'm done with the desert, so we're just done with this game. Let's start playing Midnight Suns, yo.
Well, once you get high enough level and have a lot of legendary equipment and stuff, the enemies aren't really a problem. The only thing that's really hard at that point are the elephant fights, and then I don't know if you've tried to do any of the god challenges, but those got pretty challenging, and those were fun, but they were not easy. But the regular enemies, I would just generally carve through them at that point. So I would just wander into an area and just start finding locations. I mean, what were they going to do? Kill me? Pfft, like they could.
Burns, you tend to approach games wanting to touch like everything in every game and like experience everything that you can possibly experience in a game. Was that enjoyable for you in this big open world?
Yeah, and I don't know what it is. Like with open world games, a lot of the times I'll get like overwhelmed by like, oh, you can go all these different places. And for some reason, like there's some games where that just isn't a problem. And it's not always for the same reason. And I had never ran into that problem with Assassin's Creed Origins. I don't know what it is. It's just I think there's enough variety of different things to do, and it feels like most of them like aren't a massive time sink of a diversion to sort of check those off. And so it's like I'll go down, do like a side quest, maybe move the main story along a little bit more, and then it's like, oh, okay, here's all these question marks before I get to this other spot. And so it's just bam, 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 and then all right, now I'm where I need to be after this or for this next thing. Or it's like, oh, I got to go all the way across the map. All right, I'm going to finish this area, and then I'm going to teleport over to that area. And so I don't know. It's one of those things where it became hard to turn it off, And granted, I did finish this game with so much time to spare, but I didn't have a chance to do any of the post game content yet. But that was a lot of it was because it's just like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to work through here and I'm going to do these check marks. And I haven't been to this region yet. I'm going to open this up and see what's there, get at least a fast travel point so I can come back. And so it's just like that stuff was always continuing to pull me even at the end of the game.
And part of my problem was that we're on a time crunch. We're on a deadline.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to try to see the ending of this game before we had this discussion. But another part of it that led to me falling off of the points of interest was the sheer number of camps in this game. And early on, it's like, oh, cool, here's a camp with like 5 guys, sneak in, kill the leader, get the treasure. That's great. After about 137 of those, I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I'll shoot some dudes with an arrow. I'll try to run in, grab the loot real quick. And like, I think I kind of got bored with the camps, and that felt like a lot of the question marks. So I just kind of stopped pursuing them. But that was my experience with it. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
For the camps, for me, what kept it interesting is like coming up with my own challenges or things to do in them. Yeah. And so like either it's like letting the predators out and seeing how much that they can take out. And sometimes it was just running just flat into it and be like, okay, let's see if I can get out of this thing. Otherwise it was like, okay, can I get into here, kill as few guys as possible, kill the commanders and the captains and get the loot and finish it without like anybody else even knowing what's going on. And so I feel like I just tried to keep approaching things in a different way, which at least kept like that stuff interesting and fresh for me. And I really did like it when you get to some of them and it's just like it's just this huge fort with everything. And then that's when it turned on the Hitman impulses, where it's like, going through the entire first level of Hitman and killing every single living thing in there, just because it's like, I want to do this. I want to see if I could do this. And so, it kind of like scratched that itch a little bit also.
Yeah, one other note that I had, like, it also super frustrated me when I'd like go through, clear out a camp, do the stuff, and then get sent there for like a side quest. Like that drove me crazy, and that also turned me off of doing camps for a long time. And then like I finished the story, I'm like, oh well, I guess I can do some camps again. Maybe I'll go back and do the side quests. Knowing me, it's unlikely. But to summarize, if you like big open world games with lots of stuff to do, there's a ton of bite-sized content in Assassin's Creed Origins that we generally found super enjoyable. It's fighting camps, it's arranging stones in like the path of a constellation, it's finding hidden treasure, just a lot of stuff. So moving beyond what we talked about last month, what was new in the back half of the game? Enemy bases got notably harder. I learned how to kill the hardcore bounty hunter dudes, Falaki? Is that what they're called?
Something like that. Falaki, Falakatai, Fla.
Like, I don't know.
That's
Yeah. And Bayek finds himself uncovering leads as a gladiator. Additionally, you get brief naval battles. So, thinking of these new things that we didn't really discuss at all in part one, did these additions improve on the formula that we loved early on, or did they feel like filler?
Well, for me, I'm going to lean heavily on the filler side. Not that I dislike the naval battles. I mean, mechanically, they were reasonable enough, but there were only 3 of them in the entire game. It was a good thing they kept putting the button prompts up, because by the time I did one, I completely forgot it from the last time because it was a long time ago. And the gladiatorial bouts, I don't like fighting these guys straight up with the combat system. I want to sneak. I want to snipe with my arrows. So being forced to fight face to face, I didn't particularly care for it.
Well,
I could have happily done without that. And apparently I am going to be in the minority here in terms of the fact that I never fought the bounty hunters. And the only person being killed one, every time I walked by, I hid and let him go by and finished up after he left.
Darren, you're giving us a lot to unpack here. Let's start with the naval battles. We'll start with the naval battles. Like, they are a cool thing. I didn't understand why they're in here. Like, there's such a dramatic change from the formula. Like, you can't opt into them. It's like you're going to do them if you're doing the story, or you're not going to do them if you don't do the story. Like, that seems like a really curious choice. Like, was this just field testing for like
a couple of reasons? One of which is gave him someplace to use my ex-wife, who was originally going to be the protagonist until somebody decided the game probably wouldn't sell as well.
Well, we'll see with God of War Laffy, won't we?
But yeah, and then with Black Flag, naval battles being such,
but like
so
Black Flag
beloved
released,
by players.
It released like 15 years before this game, right? And like the remake just came out now, 8 years after this game came out. This seemed just like such curious timing. Were they like trying to reboot Black Flag at that point?
I don't think Black Flag was that long in front of it, was it?
It wasn't that many years, no.
Yeah.
There was 3 Assassin's Creed games between Black Flag and this one, I believe.
Well, we could never possibly know when that game releases.
But I think more that they were working. I think they were working out how to do ship combat in this earlier era, because I think it was because they were planning on it to be a much bigger part of the next game, which it was. And I think that's what they were experimenting with, is how to do it when you're not dealing with the age of piracy. And what seems feasible or what seems a little too over the top is my guess. Because if you ever played Odyssey, which was the next game, the ship combat was much more prevalent in Odyssey than here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I have to agree with that. I think it's a. Oops, sorry, Tom. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Billy.
No, I was just going to agree with that. The ship battles, the gladiators, the stuff like this. This game almost seemed like it was like the testing grounds, exactly what everybody else was saying. The testing grounds for the future games. How are these going to progress? How did the audience react? What are we going to do different? How are we going to make things shinier and more fun? for the following games, because the following games are fantastic in their own rights. But it was definitely like one of these where this game's going to crawl so all the other games can walk type of situations. So while they were immersion breaking, no, they were kind of fun in their own way in a little bit, but just not something that you like do a huge time sink into. And yeah, the ship battles were only 3 of them and stuff, but like the gladiator one, it was like as soon as I was done with that mission and killed the 2 brothers before the crocodile, I was like, nah, I'm done after that.
Well, it's interesting. Sticking on the naval combat for just one more thing, like I thought it was interesting that you couldn't opt into something similar. Like there wasn't a mini game or something built around that. Like think of the chariot racing, like we talked about in part 1. That sucked. Like that was so lame. Like, oh, let's go around the circle, and in wave 2, they're gonna put some trash on the circle, and in wave 3, they're gonna shoot some smoke arrows so that you can't really see, and it's gonna be raining, and it's just gonna be more of a pain in the butt than anything. So like, it's interesting. I thought the naval battles were fun. It's interesting that you couldn't opt in, but like they kept the chariot racing in, which I cannot imagine a person thought that that was a fun addition to the formula.
You did a lot more chariot racing than I did. Holy cow.
I did 2. I did the first 2. I did 1 for the first
All right, I
one.
didn't get out of practice.
I was trying to get the achievement where you like knock the dude off, and like so I tried it for part 1. I'm like, oh well, I really hate this, and I'm never gonna do this again. And then I finished the game. I'm like, oh well, maybe that's an like attainable achievement. And so like I go and I do the second one. I'm like, man, I really hate this. Why did I even do this? And so like I did those 2 races. You win the second one, you get 300 gold. It's like it cost me at least $6,000 to upgrade a weapon. Like 300 gold for this? Like, frig me, man. So pro tip, if you're gonna play AC Origins, just skip the chariot racing. Like, it's fun seeing the build up of Bayek, like getting built up as a chariot racer, but like there is no fun to be had in that little arena driving around the circle, dodging the trash. Gladiatorial combat also didn't super grab me. Doesn't sound like it did a lot for you guys. I don't think John was super into it either. So like, I don't know. You just fight some dudes in an arena. I know this game you're really hurting for dudes to fight, so I guess they just really needed to force that 1-to-1 combat or 1-to-5 combat.
I think gladiatorial combat is just a default option in all open world games, I swear. I'm not sure any of them don't have some form of gladiatorial combat, options that you can do.
One funny note on that, like as you're doing the story quest with gladiator stuff, like the dude's like, you fight who I want to fight and you use the weapons that I want you to use. I'm like, I can't use my weapons going into this, and then like you kill the dudes with your weapons. I'm like, oh well, that was weird. And then when you opt into the mini game, it's like, oh, you're restricted to a sword. Oh, you're restricted to their weapons. I just thought that was a curious thing. Like right before you go into these story beats, it's like, you can only use the weapons I want you to, and it's like, oh well, I'm just gonna use my stuff. So come and stop me if you want to.
I mean, it was a different sword for me than what I used.
Oh, that's interesting. No, I had my regular stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't the big fancy Final Fantasy sword. It was just a normal sword.
Huh. Yeah, well, it sounds
He
like
was fine with you using your stuff because your stuff sucked, Tom.
That might
Really
actually
did. So I think we're saying skip the gladiator combat too, right? And so the last thing to unpack from Darren was the Flaky. There's these big bounty hunters that are introduced early in the game. When you kill like a civic leader, like all these bounty hunters start chasing you. I fought one early on and I just got pummeled. He was so much faster and beefier than everyone else. I'm like, oh well, I'm just never gonna do this again. But after our part 1 discussion, somebody talked about like cheesing one and beating him. I'm like, huh. Well, I'll try that. And I found that the key to beating those guys was arrows. I would just sprint backwards, shooting my bow that shoots arrows really, really fast. And like, once those were gone, I'd throw a firebomb on them. The only time I use tools. Then I'd try to use my predator bow as I was also running backwards. And by then they're usually down to a quarter or so of health and we're pretty manageable.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I approached it is start back quite a ways, use the predator bow, do the heat seeking, follow it into their head, and then as they start running, you hit them again. I had my predator bow like lit them on fire when it hit them, and so it was just like I would have them down to half health before they even got close to me. And then at that point, then it's just the same as everything else. You just dodge attacks, tag, swipe, 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 dodge attacks, swipe, swipe, swipe.
Yeah, super satisfying, right? Like you got these big beefy melee characters. Like let's just shoot them as they run at us. Great. Like I feel like a very powerful warrior right now.
You feel like Legolas. That's what Legolas does.
Natural elf. No, I thought these guys were great. They were one of the best things about the game was the challenge they provided when you're going after them. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. You can sneak attack them. They won't kill them, but you'll hurt them.
Mhm.
And gravity is your best friend against these guys. You can
Yep.
knock them off walls to their death. You know, you can hit them with poison darts and do some damage. I hit them with fire bombs, poison darts. I would use all my tools against these guys. I would knock them off walls. I'd have them try to chase me into places where they kind of would lose me, and then I'd circle back around them, hit them from behind. I mean, it was a fun strategy to find those guys because they were tough. And you know, unless you're a complete coward and just hide from them, you have a lot of fun fighting these guys.
And I will say the best sound effect in the game is like the hunting
Yes.
horn when they're getting close. I love that thing. Though, if I was ever going to make a mod for a game, I would make it so it would just be like whenever they got close, it would be the burr, 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 the little air horn crap that everybody plays nowadays. So
I don't know. I still rather hide from him. A lot to be said for being the coward.
Any other side stuff that we want to talk about? Like, and I guess, are we saying that these were mostly filler, like to the game? Like, it doesn't sound like any of us had a real affinity for any of these elements except for Mike with the
I
Philakai.
think they're filler in the sense they're not required. They're just simply options that if you choose to interact with, you can. And if you choose not to, you don't have to. Filler to me is when they force you to do stuff just to fill time to make the game longer. And they don't. You know, you can literally skip pretty much all of the things we've talked about if you want to. You know, it's just there as a choice that if you want to interact with it, hey, go to it. It's here for you.
So the naval battles and the gladiatorial
Yeah, but there's only 3 of those,
battles
so only
were
a
main
couple
storyline
required.
quest.
Yeah, but they were, only for a short time. So I certainly don't consider the rest of the gladiatorial combat filler because you just didn't have to do it if you didn't want to.
yeah, I mean, I enjoyed doing the gladiator stuff that was part of the main story. Although the the end of that storyline with that character is so anticlimactic. And it's like, oh, I didn't even realize that's who I killed. So that was funny to me. But
Do you
basically,
mean
whatever her name was. So basically, the person that's your teammate in the gladiator arena, because you have the falling out with them at the end of that quest line, and then they're the one that got hired by the crocodile to try to protect them. And it's like I just went up and stabbed him in the back and chain assassinated the crocodile. And then it was just like afterwards, Bayek's like, "I'm sorry that this had to be your end, sister." And it was just like, "Oh, that was her." I didn't even realize it.
I didn't kill her.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
No, I jumped on the crocodile from a roof and confirmed my kill and ran the heck out of there as quick as I could because there were a lot of hornets in that, and I had things to do and places to be.
That's really hilarious because I waited till night when she was in the courtyard, jumped on her, killed her, and it immediately went to the cutscene right before the other gladiator chick turned around to fight me. And then the fight was just over after that because the scene went to a completely different part of the game. So I didn't even have to fight her. So it's really funny that all of us kind of had different experiences.
Well, it's also interesting because, like, I saw that fight coming. Like, as soon as I was paired up with her, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to like kill this partner to like get to the brothers. Like, I know they're gonna turn us against each other. So interesting. I didn't even realize that she was protecting the crocodile. Like, of course, I realized that was like her moonlighting job, but like, didn't occur to me that she was in that fight. And I just killed the crocodile and peaced out, and then went back and finished up the base after the cutscene.
That's funny.
Interesting. Talking about optional content, one other note that I wanted to make sure I said, the side quest stayed great throughout this entire game. Like the hardest part for me in finishing this game was letting go of the side quest because as much as I wore down on the points of interest, every time I saw that exclamation point, I'm like, well, I got to get over there. I got to at least go and collect all of these so that if I do come back to this game, I can get back to it. When I completed the game, I had 20 unfinished side quests and like so many more exclamation points across the map.
Yeah, that was one thing There's a cutscene near the end of the game where it was very apparent that like there was room for like one or maybe two more people in that cutscene, and it's like, man, I wish I would have done more of the side quests to have like more of like somebody else here, because it just felt like there was space for those other people when you're having the forming the brotherhood meeting basically.
I think Kenzie might have been there for me since I didn't murder her with the crocodile. Because like, there
Really?
was a lady like roughly the same makeup, so like I'm like, is that her? I don't know. I expected that I was gonna have to kill her, and then there were buddies for me in that cutscene.
Was it the one with the hood?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not the same person. It's a different character.
No, that's the lady you helped. I think helped because her village got attacked, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Well, we can never know. Uh, Next, we'll move on to talking about the story. The basic setup was that Bayek was manipulated into killing his son, and it set him and his wife on an epic trek for revenge. Along the way, they get swept up in Cleopatra's bid to reclaim her throne in Egypt from her brother Ptolemy. You make new friends, you assassinate enemy leaders, and you drink what I quantify as with reckless abandon.
Mm.
Bayek is widely considered one of the strongest protagonists in the franchise. Did the story stay compelling because of Bayek himself, or because of what was happening around him?
For me, it's going to be both. I mean, Bayek remains awesome. Whether he's angry, remorseful, being humorous. Every time he interacts with somebody in a quest, it's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I just gotta love it. But I also really love the way they weaved their in-game story with historical events, like the conflicts between Cleopatra and Ptolemy, Egypt and Rome, even Brutus and Caesar, Caesar's death. I mean, it was really, really good. And, it just, they did that part astonishingly well.
Yeah, I agree with you. For me, I thought that the most interesting thing was what was happening around Bayek. I thought he was fine, but he didn't super grab me as the protagonist. I thought his relationship with Aya and their journey was particularly interesting. What I interpreted the story as, it's the overall story is a metaphor for them trying to move on from the tragic loss of their child, and it was really powerful. Like they both throw themselves into these grand ambitions, and they're lashing out with rage, with anger, with remorse. They're acting like everything's fine in their relationship when it's not, and like I thought that was a very real human story just played out on like a grand stage.
Hmm. Yeah. I I know we discussed this a lot in part one, so I won't belabor on it or anything, but Bayek being a father first and a Magi second is definitely carried through the entire game. I mean, you can see the pain when children suffer in these side stories. Like I sent in the text chain last night. I completely forgot about the very beginning story of the crocodile, and like when you're
Yeah.
racing after trying to find the girl, when you find out she was the one that like hid the pamphlet, and just that entire scene, like put the controller down and sit, collect yourself for a moment after that happened. Like he's a fascinating character because yes, all in all, this game is a revenge story, but it's also a father, like very forward. It's like he's so good. It carries through the game. And I just also have to give kudos to the voice actor because you can feel the pain in his voice when he's upset and when he's screaming, when he's like doing all this stuff. So everything around him was fantastic story wise, but man, is he just a fun, great protagonist for this game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Bayek and I are the heart of the story, and like their loss is like the engine that powers the story. And it's interesting how their characters are at opposite sides of the coin because Bayek doesn't let go of being a father, and so like he has a connection with all the young people that he interacts with, and I think that is really sweet and really human, and it's how I would see myself moving on from tragedy. I, on the other side, has let go of being a parent and like isn't going to go through that heartache, heartbreak ever again. And they have a moment towards the end of the game that I thought was just awesome, and like Bayek is calling Aya out for being so hardcore in favor of Cleopatra and going on these long missions and doing all this stuff. And Aya said something to the effect of, well, it's my higher purpose. And Bayek's like, our higher purpose is that we're parents. And she cuts him off and says, we were parents. And like, it just kind of highlighted their differing philosophies. And I thought that was such a tense and intense moment. It's like, oh, this isn't going to work. And so, fortunately, I didn't have to wait a long time for that payoff. Burns, I think you wanted to cut me off in the middle there.
No, it's just you really have to make sure you pronounce Aya because it kept sounding like you were saying "and I," and so it's just like you gave up on being a parent, Tom. Like, do we need to have a session to talk about that? Pull that
He's done
apart?
with those kids.
Real talk for a second. In a meeting yesterday or the day before, I accidentally misspoke, and instead of saying paying with dollars, I said paying with daughters. And as the father of two daughters, that was really awkward for me. Like everyone had a real good chuckle, and I'm like, oh man, that's embarrassing.
I bet. But to piggyback off what you're saying, that was, I think, the best thing they did in this story was the way that they worked with the Aya and Bayek difference. You know, they suffered this unimaginable tragedy. And not only do they, you know, they react all the way through. It just doesn't, you know, starts the game and then no one mentions it ever again. It resonates all through. And they do react in a completely different way. And there's conflict and there's, you know, there's problems because of it. And it's dealt with in a serious manner, which doesn't always happen in video games. When there's a tragedy to kick off the game, a lot of times it's just kind of kicked to the curb. It was just there to give a reason for something to happen. And after that, they don't really want to dip back into it at all. Well, in this game, they actually did try to do something with that, which I applaud them for. And yes, I'll join the kudos for the voice actor who apparently is in House of the Dragon. I haven't seen that show, but apparently he is in that show. And he was spectacular in this game. Just one of the best performances I've ever heard.
Anything else you guys want to dig into with the story, either spoiler or non-spoiler? Then I'll just summarize. The story in this game is phenomenal. Like, the exploration was top notch. The story was great. The combat we all enjoyed all the way through. One thing that surprised me about the story was just how threadbare the modern day story felt. Having only played the original Assassin's Creed prior to this, I expected the Abstergo and the Animus to play a much larger role. Was keeping that story most in the background a positive or negative for this experience?
You know, my answer is confusing to some because I actually felt it was a little bit negative, which is weird because I don't actually care about the modern day story. But
So then why
if they're
was it
going
a
to
negative?
because if they're going to make me come into the modern day story, at least give me something to engage with. You know, I may not personally like it, but others might. But you know, either drag me out for something I got to engage with, or don't drag me out at all.
Well,
Because
Darren,
they
you got
kept
to
dragging
stab
me
like
out for no
five
good reason.
dudes. Like, it's basically one camp, man. So like, it's all samesies. You walk up to five dudes staring at the wall. It's like Ghost of Tsushima. Like they're just staring at the wall. You just go pop them in the head, and I'm like, all right, well, I got the five guys. Back to the Animus.
Even with earlier titles where I didn't care about the story so much, I did care a bit about the modern day protagonist. This one, I don't even remember who they are. They seem
Layla.
completely replaceable.
that lady.
Indiana and the dude.
Yeah.
See, we got it. We got it on lockdown. Billy, what about you? Did you care about the modern day story? Was it a positive or negative for the experience?
Nope. I am there to play Assassin's Creed, and I don't want to play talking about Assassin's Creed. You know what I mean? Like, it's for me. No, I don't care for it all that much. I want to get back to stabby, stealthy.
Ironically, that's exactly how I felt about the Assassin's Creed movie.
Never watched it,
Yeah.
but I just heard it was just absolute garbage. So,
Well, if you like Michael Fassbender like being impaled by Dr. Octopus and being flung around without a shirt on, you'll love it.
Who doesn't?
well, I'm sold, Tom.
I don't know. I enjoyed that movie more than you did, Tom. But and I enjoyed the Layla modern day stuff too. You know, it wasn't the highlight of it wasn't the highlight of this game by any stretch of the imagination, and it kind of felt like a little bit like an afterthought. at times. But I liked the like little connections that they had in the stuff that was on her computer and everything, and the relationship that she had both with like Sophia, one of the main characters from the movie, and then with her partner Deanna and everything. I thought was interesting, and how that kind of continued to play out throughout that aspect of the story. I thought it was funny that apparently, like Neo, she jacked into the Animus and she just learned how to be a really good assassin. Apparently, by just
I
like
know kung fu.
I
experiencing
forgot
that.
about that line.
Well, no,
Yeah,
that's been in all the games though. They did that from the
is it
very start, from the very first game.
okay?
It's called the bleeding effect, I think is the term they use, where
Ah,
they start
Ah.
to absorb parts of their ancestors, like thoughts and abilities from being in the Animus with them, so to speak. So the first protagonist, whose name escapes me at the moment, eventually becomes a killer assassin from doing the Animus.
got it.
Desmond,
Yeah,
right?
Desmond, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
So I don't know. I like that stuff. There are some aspects of the end of the game that I kind of didn't like. And I think the modern day stuff with Layla more than some of that stuff.
Well, do tell, Burns. This is our confessional. So, like, spoiler
So,
alert: Burns about to drop a bomb on the story.
um, first, it felt really weird that this whole time you're playing through as Bayek to try to kill these people, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, things are serious. Now you're Aya for like 4 missions. And then some of the missions, so when you're in the chariot with Caesar, and it's like, is this just the end of that Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War where you have to do this driving thing and it's going to be impossible to finish? And you're just going to get, you're going to have to run through and do this over and over and over again. Now, luckily, I only failed it once, but it's just like, I get why they do that, and I'm starting to understand that it's like ending games are hard, and it was also weird because you have those huge set pieces, and then your next mission you basically have to travel 6,000 kilometers in order to get to the next thing, and I don't know, there was some really weird pacing stuff. I really did like the sort of interplay, like you guys are talking about, between Bayek and Aya. But it just felt really weird that they just finished avenging their son, and Aya's going to go off to Rome, and it's like our relationship is over, and let's talk about how great the Brotherhood is. Woo! It just felt so weird, and then I don't know, the ending with after Aya and she changes her name and all that stuff, and she's staring at the camera. It's just like it just was so cringe, and it's just like this is like 2000s as F, and it's just like, oh, like you could have done without some of this stuff, and you didn't need to go cheesy at the end just to try to sell this is like the origin of the Brotherhood of Assassins, and dropping the hawk skull, and then that makes the symbol. It's just like, come on, like I don't know, some of the stuff just got so so over the top,
Perfect.
so tongue in
Is that the word
cheek.
you're looking for? Perfect is the word I think you wanted for that. That's exactly how you
Yeah, I
finish
kind
an
of
Assassin's
enjoyed that.
Creed game.
The,
Yes,
the,
that's perfect.
it's
You
the
go over
problem.
the top.
So much, no, because it's like so much of this story is so grounded and focused in the emotions of the character and the people that like Bayek and Aya are associating with, and then it just sort of turns into like this propaganda reel for this is how great the Brotherhood is and how it started, and this has to be like the coolest thing ever, and it's just, I feel like they took it to a level that they didn't do at all throughout the game, and it just didn't fit in with like the rest of the narrative. And it was just like, we're sort of buying you in and getting you to buy into this character, and fall in love with them, and then it's just like now we're just going to slap you in the face with how cool all this stuff is. And you know this stuff's BA, isn't it? Yeah, it's BA. These the characters you love are screaming about how awesome it is that they started this thing. And you know, and it's just like I don't know. It just some of that stuff was just a bit weird.
Well, picking specifically at like the Aya scene at the very end, like I also thought that was a little weird in the moment. I liked Aya, like I thought it was like a cool moment itself, but it's like, oh, well, you're not the main protagonist of this game, so like, why are you the ending thing? Like, I don't think the next game focuses on you, so I thought that was weird until somebody mentioned that she was supposed to be the protagonist. It's like, oh, well, they blow all their money on this cutscene before like switching it to Bayek, and it's like, oh, well.
And honestly, I have no problem with that cutscene until they do the fourth wall break. She's staring at you and like trying to look as cool as possible, and it's just like you just don't.
She is cool, man.
She is cool. You don't need to shove it in our face that she's cool. Just have her be cool. You've already had her being cool. You don't need to be like, I'm staring into your soul, and it's like, this is awesome. It's like it's not needed. It was just like they did such a good job throughout so much of the story of this, and then it's just like they just couldn't help themselves at the end, or what? Like it's just like I don't know. It just took away a little bit from the experience, and I'm going off like this is like the worst thing ever, and it really wasn't. This was no Outlaws ending, which was atrociously frustrating. It was nothing like that, but yeah, I don't know. They just dropped the ball at a couple points.
I so desperately want a poster now of Aya just like staring directly at you, and like I'm gonna have Phoenix paint on it like this is awesome. You love this.
This is awesome. Oh, that's a great gift. I'm sure Phoenix would love to paint that for Burns. We'll put it right behind the wall you're sitting at right now, Burns, so we can see it every time we have an interview.
In the background is the hawk skull that had landed on the stand and created the symbol, and
you got to live with your hate, so you got to do it.
Or I could just tattoo it on my chest, and like every time we play games, I'll just be shirtless.
That's commitment.
And there is nothing that I'm more committed to than trolling my friends. I think you know that, my friend.
That is true.
That is true.
All right, so we played this game varying from me in the low end at 38 hours to Mike platinuming it, playing it again, Billy beating it and playing it again. Like, we played a lot of this game. Did Assassin's Creed Origins need to be shorter?
Not for people who can protect themselves and learn to ignore points of interest, especially once you hit the level cap. But for the rest of us, yeah, maybe so, maybe so.
I don't know. I feel that was targeted a little bit at me and maybe at Mike. The biggest thing for me wasn't that it was like overlong or overstayed its welcome. I think it just kind of needed a lot of like action games. Like I think God of War kind of does it, where even near the end of the game, you're unlocking like another like step up in like things that you can do in combat or something like that. And it feels like this was just missing that one extra little like notch. Like give me another like capstone assassin ability or capstone overpower ability that you can like really pull off if you do something a certain way, and like then like that would help propel through the end of the game to like, oh okay, I'm gonna try to do this as much as possible. And you know, I felt like it missed that last little thing to kind of spice up the end game of combat, because even like with the elephant battles and stuff like that, I never really felt like I was struggling. It was just how much time is it going to take to get through this. And so having a couple other tools at my disposal or something a little bit more interesting to like just ramp stuff up one more level, I think would have really helped a lot with the combat feeling fresh all the way through.
You know, a fifth bow or something new.
Mm-hmm.
The second
or
half.
like a bazooka. So like my perspective on this question changed. The first 97% of this game, maybe even 98%, I would have said no. Like all the stuff is optional. Like you can mop it up after the game. Like that's totally fine. But then you get through the siege, you get through that set piece moment. It's like, the game should have ended there, because like after the siege, you literally, Burn said 6,000 kilometers. It was actually 4,000 meters that you have to trek to track down the next target after, and like that's not really interesting space. Like you're going through desert. There's not a lot to do in that way, and it's like you go 2,000, and then like you get a little drip of story, and you meet an interesting new character. It's like, oh, I bet you have a DLC built around you, and that's why I had to ride this extra 4,000 meters. So like, you just, to me, I was loving the experience, but then you get to the end, it's like, man, no, like, no, this game should be over. Why do I have to travel so far to get to my last target?
Yeah, that was the only time where I pulled a Final Fantasy 15, and it's just like follow road, go to objective. I got up, went to the bathroom, grabbed a snack, walked around the apartment for a little bit, came back 5 minutes later. I'm almost to my destination. It's like that's like stuff that I would only really do in Final Fantasy 15, where it's just like, all right, boys, drive for 5 minutes while I go do something with my life. It's productive.
I rode all the way to Greece and met a new character just for one fight. Rode all the way to Greece. Thanks, man. Like, on. That was just infuriating. Billy, did AC Origins need to be shorter?
No, it's. I mean, if you like big open world games and stuff like that, I thought it was great. It's awesome as long as you keep it interesting and it's not a lot of big open space. Rock on. I say, give it to me. I like it where I can feel like, back at the when you first purchased the game, you feel like you get your money's worth. You know what I mean? So it's fantastic.
Until the end.
And good thing, Tom, for you though, is if this felt too long, the good thing is that Odyssey and Valhalla and Shadows are much more contained, shrunken down, focused things that don't take forever and a day to try to get through. So at least you have that to look forward to.
I feel like you're mocking me, Burns. No,
I'm being facetious. They're like so much larger from what I understand. And
I was just about to say,
there's so much
they're
more
actually
going on.
much larger.
Yeah.
Valhalla is for sure. Well,
Yeah.
I'd say Odyssey is pretty similar, and I haven't
Is
played
it?
Shadows, so I don't have a point of reference there. Valhalla is the one that's definitely too stretched thin for sure.
Well, before we dive
Valhalla
too
gets
deep
a little
into
tiresome.
Before we dive too deep into the other AC games, I have one last question here. My perception as the observant and benevolent shepherd of this little flock of violent assassins is that the enthusiasm for AC Origins waned in the back half. Is that accurate? Like, I know a couple of you had already beaten it. It seemed like John kind of fell off because he had to move. Did the rest of us struggle to get through the end of this game?
Well, the back half is where I found the Easter eggs for the Seven Samurai and Conan. So didn't drop off too much. I mean, the quests were still really good.
Mm-hmm.
Points of interest.
When did you beat this game, Darren? Like, did you just wrap it up a couple of weeks ago, or was there
Yeah,
like a lull?
it's been 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, well that's a part of it, and like I had birthday season and like camping and
Yeah.
stuff, so like I had some time when I couldn't play, so maybe I was just disconnected. So is that an inaccurate assessment that we kind of fell off the back end of this game?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't for the most part, although the gameplay loop of the points of interest, being as there's functionally only 3 types of points of interest. You've got animal camps, you got your bandit / Roman camps, and then you got the treasures. Boy, they could have done with 6 types of points of interest, would have helped a ton. And they were obviously very proud of what they did with the bird and marking stuff, because boy, did they overuse that. The one that cracks me up was, somebody told me to go to a store and I had to use the bird to find the store. The person who told me to go to the store couldn't have told me it's the second left after the marketplace. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, if you insist on doing the points of interest, I definitely think your interest would definitely start to fall off. But if you're focusing on the quests, it still goes pretty well. I mean, they're really all quite good.
Did you? I just want to be perfectly clear here. Did you just call your brother a masochist for completing every point of interest in this game?
A bit, yeah. I mean, I touched almost everyone. Some of the triremes and treasures out in the water. Look, I can know what they are by looking at it. Oh, it's got a boat shape. That's a trireme. That question mark just in open water. That's gonna be a sunken treasure to dive on. But like all the ones on land, I got close enough to identify what they were, even though I didn't actually do quite a few of them. I did actually walk close enough to find out what they were.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. Like I found out what the ones on the along the story path were. Bernsey, what about you? Did you stay fresh? Because you had kind of a different experience. You went back to an old save file. You didn't super play like the first half of the game in part one, right? So like you kind of jumped in
Yeah.
the back half of the game.
I did. I jumped in probably right at the midway point of the game. And then played a good chunk to the point where I'd say I probably when we got to the end of when we recorded part one, I maybe had like a fourth or a fifth of the game left. Because there wasn't a whole lot of things that I needed to accomplish to get through the story bits to finish up with this. I don't know. The enthusiasm didn't really wane. For me, it was much more so just like external factors. So work has been busy. Summer, like already, it's like there's been stuff going on like all the weekends, and it was one of those things where there's been all these sales on like the game on like the PlayStation Network and other game stores. So it's like, oh, I want to try this new shiny for a little bit. I want to try this new shiny for a little bit. And Summer Games Fest and all that stuff. So like the wanderlust took over for the couple of weeks after we recorded the last podcast. Before I really buckled back in to finish things up with this. So I wouldn't say the enthusiasm waned. It was just distractions.
Well, well, good because like this is a really solid game. I'm not going to call it a masterpiece, but I think it's great. I think it's really fun, like top to bottom, and we've certainly had a lot of positives to discuss throughout our two parts of this discussion. Having grokked Assassin's Creed Origins in fullness, what is our appetite for other Assassin's Creed titles?
Pretty high. I haven't played Assassin's Creed for quite a long time. I had forgotten how good of a world they can build and how good of a story they can tell. I
And like
mean,
for
they
me,
don't know how
I
to
had no
end
idea.
them, but beyond that part, I mean, because some of those Flavius fight, they always have one fight near the end, which has got some serious lame mechanics in it. But the story as a whole are really good.
Yeah, and like I didn't know what to expect because like I'd only played the first one, and the first one isn't a very good game. So like, it
Yeah.
kind of colored my whole perspective. I did start playing the second one. I'm like, oh, they fixed a lot of stuff. This is great. This is fun. And then I switched consoles and just never went back. So like, man, I am riding an AC high right now. Give me Valhalla. Like I've always been intrigued by their Viking setting, and like that would be the next one on the list for me.
Just gonna
Ooh.
skip Odyssey.
Ooh, I would not recommend that.
Don't skip Odyssey. Don't do it.
Okay, well, Odyssey it is with like all my exceptional free time. I'll just leave the disc in my PS5 and that'll be my Portal game when I'm not doing podcast stuff.
I'm tell- I love the games. I've purchased every single one when they came out after Black Flag. I didn't play the earlier titles, but this open world, the new stuff that they're doing, what they keep adding, the storylines, the world that they have, what they continue in new games, every single time a new one comes out, I want to play it. I love it absolutely. And so jumping back into this, now I'm like, I think I'm going to go download Odyssey now and go through that one more time because that's a really, really fun one. And if you like points of interest, that's a beautiful game to go through.
So, Billy, have you played all of the modern AC games then?
Yep.
What is your favorite and what would you say is the best of them?
Personally, I'm going to go, it's a tie between Odyssey and Valhalla for me. I
For both
love
favorite and best?
Odyssey. Pardon me?
Is that for both favorite and best?
Yes. Favorite Valhalla, best Odyssey. That's
I
it.
should...
No more notes.
All right. Bernsey, what about you?
I mean, I'm probably going to want, like, I wouldn't jump in and I'm not like Billy where I'd want jump in and like install Odyssey right now. Partially because I still feel the pull to go back and give this the mic treatment. So that's probably actually something I'll whittle away on over the next like month or two, to just sort of try to go through and see that. Plus, I also have the DLC, so I'm interested in seeing what is added with that stuff too. So I kind of feel like I'm not completely done with this yet. I want to try to actually finish it this time.
Nice. Well, I'm glad that you've enjoyed the experience. Mike, your appetite for other AC titles?
I'd say it's been reignited because, and this is odd after hearing what he just said, but I did not like Valhalla. It completely turned me off in a way that I would not have thought possible as much as I love this series. I thought it was just a complete misfire. And I own a copy of the one that came after Valhalla, and I've never opened it up because I was just so disgusted by Valhalla. But now I kind of want to go back to it, and maybe I will. Although my recommendation to you, Tom, is if you want to do another one, just buy Black Flag 4, the remake that they just have coming out. Because 4 is one of the really good ones, and this remake is a great way to come to that game now too, if you want to, have a little more modern game to play.
My problem with buying the remake is that I bought an Xbox, what was before the Series S? An Xbox One. I bought the Xbone in a special bundle that had Black Flag and I think Syndicate on it. And like, I never played them. So like, I have a hard time rebuying a game that I've
That's
had.
different then. Yeah, if you've already owned them, because I really do think there's a real demarcation line of the good Assassin's Creed versus kind of the mediocre. Outside of 3, I don't think any of them are really bad. But there's definitely a top line and a bottom line, so to speak. And Black Flag and Syndicate are both in the top line group, along with 2 and this one, and maybe Odyssey. That's probably the top group to me. 2, Assassin's Creed 2 might be one of the biggest jumps ever between a first game and a sequel as far as quality. They improved every single thing from Assassin's Creed 1 to Assassin's Creed 2 by a huge margin. So if you ever go back to that one, yeah, it's amazing how much better it is than the first game.
Yeah, and they like I think the whole series is on PlayStation Plus right now. So like I've been really intrigued to like fire up the Ezio trilogy and see if I could finish that. But then like, am I really gonna go down the line and play like a dozen Assassin's Creed games when like I podcast stuff and it's like, man, or should I just play Valhalla since that's the one that I really want to play?
You might like it. I mean, clearly some people love that game, as we've been told.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah,
you
I mean, if you're into like the whole Viking and Norse culture and stuff like that, it's a really fun play. But I absolutely understand the criticism that Valhalla did get because you're coming from like Egyptian, Roman, all this stuff, and then it goes to Valhalla, and then there was just a bunch of stuff in the game that threw a lot of people for a loop and stuff.
Well, yeah,
but
having a modern baseball player as a voice actor, and he's basically being a baseball player with the eye black, and he's hitting a rock with a stick, and I'm like, oh, I know who that is. That's supposed to be funny. Shut up! It just made me angry. So,
what? Like that doesn't make any sense. Like, who's the baseball
Cody
player?
Bellinger appears in that game, and he's basically being Cody Bellinger in medieval England, well, pre-medieval England. It made me extremely angry.
I have an irrational hatred for Cody Bellinger.
Oh, that's the worst thing.
Yeah, interesting. Well, apparently AC games can be pretty good, and there's a couple of less popular games in the series. Anything else you guys want to say about AC Origins before we wrap up here?
I think we covered it pretty well.
All right. Well, that is our discussion on Assassin's Creed Origins. Next month, we're going to start breaking down Marvel's Midnight Suns by Firaxis. Now, we haven't as a group discussed if this is going to be a 1-month game or a 2-month game. The early reviews are super duper positive on it. Patrick East just absolutely loves painting paintings with Blade. It's his absolute favorite mechanic in any game ever. So hopefully he'll be on the, because it sounds stupid to me. So hopefully he'll be on next month to defend that terrible point of view. On the main podcast feed, we just dropped our episode on the RPG Dungeon Crawl Classics. And next month, we're breaking down the animated series Batman, the Caped Crusader on Amazon Prime. We hope you'll jump in and play alongside us for Marvel's Midnight Suns. Please support Outside is Overrated at patreon.com/OiO. And until next month, stay inside, kids.